There comes a moment in life when you look around and realize that not everyone who began with you is still standing beside you. Some left quietly, others left loudly, and a few left with wounds that cut deeper than you ever expected. And in those moments of silence, when you feel the weight of absence pressing on your heart, you begin to wonder if you have lost something irreplaceable. But hear this truth: what God removes from your life was never meant to define your future. Their departure is not your loss. It is your protection. It is your liberation. It is a doorway into something greater than what they could ever carry with you. We often mistake absence for failure, as if the people who walked away somehow took a piece of our destiny with them. But destiny is not stitched together by fragile human hands. It is designed by the Creator who knows every step of your path, who knows the voices that will encourage you and the ones that will weaken you, who knows the relationships that will help you rise and the ones that will hold you down. And when He removes someone, it is not cruelty. It is kindness. It is the severing of ties that would have strangled your growth. It is the pulling away of shadows that would have dimmed your light. Think about it: if they could leave you, they were never anchored to your purpose. If they could turn their back, they were never meant to walk forward into the chapters ahead. Sometimes God closes doors we keep trying to open because He sees what's on the other side. Sometimes He silences voices we want to hold on to because they were never speaking life into us, only draining us. Sometimes He takes away relationships, friendships, even opportunities, not because He wants us to be empty, but because He is making room for something purer, stronger, more aligned with who we are becoming. Do not confuse subtraction with defeat. Subtraction is often the very equation that leads to multiplication. What you think you've lost may only be the clearing of the soil so that stronger roots can grow. The pain of someone leaving might be the very protection that saves you from years of wasted time, broken trust, and unseen damage. When the wrong people leave, the right blessings finally have space to arrive. Yes, their absence will sting. Yes, the silence will echo. Yes, you will feel the pull of memories that whisper of what once was. But you cannot build your future on ghosts. You cannot carry dead weight into living destiny. Every person who exits your life by God's hand has already played their part. Their chapter is closed, their purpose fulfilled, their role completed. Holding on only slows you down, but letting go frees you to walk lighter, stronger, and clearer toward what's waiting for you. So the next time someone walks away, resist the urge to chase. Resist the temptation to believe that you've been robbed of something precious. Instead, lift your eyes and remind yourself that God's hand does not take without giving. His removal is always followed by renewal. His subtraction always prepares the way for addition. And what is ahead of you will always be greater than what you've left behind. When God removes people from your life, it can feel like the sharpest form of rejection. You sit in silence and ask yourself why they left, why they changed, why they walked away when you had given them your trust, your time, and your heart. The emptiness they leave behind feels like a wound. And in the moment, it is easy to believe that their absence is a punishment or a sign that you were not good enough. But what you call rejection is often God's hand of protection. He sees what you cannot. He hears the conversations you were never present for. He witnesses the intentions of hearts long before they are revealed to you. And when He chooses to remove someone, it is not to leave you broken, it is to shield you from what would have broken you beyond repair. Protection does not always feel gentle. Sometimes it comes like a storm, tearing away the very things you clung to for stability. Sometimes it feels like the rug has been pulled from under you, leaving you breathless, searching for answers. But storms are not always sent to destroy. Many times they are sent to clear the air, to wash away what has been poisoning your spirit, to uproot what you were never meant to depend on. And though it may hurt, It is mercy in disguise. The removal of a person you thought you needed may actually be the saving of your destiny. Think about the times in your past when someone left and you thought you could not survive without them. At the time you wept, you questioned, you begged for their return. But looking back now, you realize that their absence created the very space you needed to grow. Their leaving was the turning point that shifted your perspective, that taught you strength you never knew you had, that forced you to discover who you truly were apart from them. What you thought was rejection was actually the doorway into resilience. What you thought was abandonment was the moment God was teaching you to stand on your own. It is easy to focus on what is gone, but protection often hides itself in what is missing. If you had continued walking with them, their influence may have pulled you off course. If they had stayed longer, their words may have crushed your spirit. If you had trusted them deeper, their betrayal would have cut you even more. Sometimes God removes people before their harm can reach its peak, and you may never know the depth of what He shielded you from. But trust this, when He takes someone away, it is never random. It is always intentional. It is always for your good. The pain of removal is real, but pain is not proof of loss. It is the stretching of your soul to make room for growth. Protection does not always arrive wrapped in comfort. Sometimes it arrives wrapped in emptiness, but emptiness is not a curse. It is the soil where new beginnings take root. And though your heart may ache now, the day will come when you look back and thank God for every departure that once brought you to your knees. Because those exits were the very moments He was shielding you from dangers you could not yet see. When someone leaves your life, the first instinct is to feel diminished. You think you've lost a piece of yourself, that without their presence, your path has somehow grown weaker, thinner, and more fragile. But that is only the illusion of loss. The truth is that destiny is never weakened by subtraction. Destiny is strengthened by purification. When certain people depart, your path does not collapse. It becomes clearer. It becomes straighter. It becomes free of the distractions that once slowed your steps. What looks like weakness in the moment is the very thing that builds endurance for the journey ahead. You must remember that your destiny is not built on the presence of temporary people. It is built on eternal design. The people who were never meant to carry you forward can only weigh you down if you insist on keeping them close. They may smile in your face, but not all smiles are for you. They may hold your hand, but not every hand that holds you is lifting you up. And so, when they leave, when their chapter in your life closes, it is not a breaking of destiny. It is the strengthening of it. Because every step you now take without them is lighter, freer, and more aligned with who you are truly becoming. Strength is not forged in the presence of constant comfort. Strength is born in the absence of what you thought you could not live without. When someone walks away, and yet you keep standing, that is strength. When someone betrays you, and yet you continue to trust in God's plan, that is strength. When someone abandons you, and yet you learn to walk with courage rather than despair, that is strength. Their departure becomes the fire that forges resilience within you, the silent training ground where your character is shaped, your vision is sharpened, and your faith is deepened. Every loss is a lesson. Every exit is a refining. You learn who truly belongs in your circle. You learn who was only passing through. You learn that not everyone has the capacity to handle the weight of your calling. Some people were never strong enough to go the distance with you, and their departure is not proof that your destiny is weaker. It is proof that your destiny is too great to be shared with the wrong people. To protect the purity of your path, God removes those who would dilute your focus, compromise your growth, or poison your spirit. And in their absence, your destiny shines even brighter. Think of the seed buried deep in the soil. At first, it is alone, pressed down, covered in darkness. But that seed is not weaker because of the isolation. It is stronger. The very pressure around it is what activates its potential. And so it is with you. When people leave, you may feel buried, abandoned, forgotten. But in reality, you are being positioned to grow in ways you could never have grown had they remained. The solitude that comes with their absence is not emptiness. It is empowerment. It is the sacred space where you begin to realize that your destiny does not hinge on who stayed or who left. It hinges only on the one who called you. What once felt like weakness will one day be remembered as the foundation of your strength. The tears you cried will become the fuel for your endurance. The silence they left behind will become the echo of your growth. And every step you take forward, without the weight of those who could not stay, will be a reminder that destiny is not weakened by departure, it is fortified by it. Life has a way of teaching us that what feels like loss is often the beginning of increase. When someone leaves your life, it may look like subtraction, like a piece of your world has been carved out and left hollow. But what appears as emptiness is often the very soil where abundance is planted. God's way of multiplying often begins with taking away what cannot serve your future. It feels backward to us because we are conditioned to believe that more is better, that addition is the only sign of progress. But in truth, subtraction is often the sacred preparation for multiplication. Consider a tree in the hands of a skilled gardener. To the untrained eye, pruning looks cruel. Branches are cut, leaves fall away, parts of the tree are stripped back until it looks bare. But what looks like loss is actually strategy. The pruning clears away the parts that drain energy but bear no fruit. It allows strength to flow into what remains, so that in the next season, the tree can produce abundantly. And so it is with your life. When God subtracts, He is pruning. He is removing what drains you, what distracts you, what holds you back from bearing the fruit you were meant to produce. That subtraction is not punishment. It is preparation. Every time you lose something or someone not aligned with your purpose, you gain clarity, and clarity is the foundation of growth. Without subtraction, you would remain scattered, divided, pulled in directions that lead nowhere. But once the unnecessary is removed, your energy, your focus, your spirit becomes concentrated. You are able to pour yourself fully into the path that was designed for you. And in that focus, multiplication begins to manifest. Think of the stories of your past, where what you thought was loss became the very setup for greater. You lost a friend, but in their absence, you found your voice. You lost an opportunity, but in its closing, a door opened to something you could never have imagined. You lost the comfort of what was familiar, but in the discomfort you discovered strength you did not know you carried. Each subtraction carved space for something bigger, brighter, stronger, to take root. Without the loss, the gain would never have had room to enter. Subtraction also exposes what is essential. It strips away the excess, the noise, the attachments that distract you from the core of who you are. And once you are reduced to the essential, God can multiply what matters most. Like a seed planted deep in the soil, it must be stripped of its shell, broken open, and buried before it can multiply into a tree. The breaking, the burying, the stripping, it feels like subtraction. But that seed carries within it the blueprint of multiplication. In the same way, your losses carry within them the promise of expansion. What looks like an ending is the very process that unlocks your beginning. It is only in hindsight that the pattern becomes clear. The friend you thought you couldn't live without had to leave so you could grow into the person you are today. The job you thought defined you had to end so you could step into your true calling. The opportunity that slipped away had to close so you could learn perseverance and strength. Every subtraction pointed you to multiplication. Every removal cleared ground for greater harvest. So when you stand in the silence of absence, remember this: the subtraction is not the conclusion. It is the foundation. It is the unseen work beneath the soil. It is the preparation of your spirit for a season of multiplication that will only make sense when you look back and see how every empty place became filled with something greater than what you lost. Letting go is one of the hardest lessons you will ever face. Your hands hold tight to people, to memories, to moments that once made you feel alive. And the thought of releasing them feels like betrayal. Betrayal of what once was. Betrayal of the investment you gave. Betrayal of the love you poured. Yet the truth is this: holding on to what no longer serves you is the real betrayal. It is the betrayal of your future, the betrayal of your growth, the betrayal of the greatness waiting to enter your life. To let go is not to abandon your past. It is to honor your future. When your hands are full of what has already expired, they cannot receive what is new. You cannot pour fresh water into a cup that is already overflowing with yesterday's remnants. And so, life brings you to a crossroads where you must choose: will you cling to what is leaving, or will you make space for what is coming? It is never an easy decision, because the familiar feels safe even when it is broken. The known feels comforting even when it is draining. But real transformation requires empty hands, an open heart, and the courage to believe that what lies ahead is greater than what lies behind. Letting go is not just about people. It is about identities, habits, mindsets, and seasons. Sometimes it means releasing the version of yourself that fit into circles you have outgrown. Sometimes it means leaving behind the patterns that kept you comfortable, but never allowed you to expand. Sometimes it means surrendering the dream you thought you wanted, so that a greater dream, one that aligns more deeply with your calling, can take shape. Each act of letting go is painful because it feels like loss, but in reality it is exchange. You are not losing, you are trading up. You are releasing what was limited to make room for what is limitless. The pain of letting go comes from the lie that what you are releasing is the best you will ever have. But what if that isn't true? What if the people you lost were only chapters in a book that still has pages yet to be written? What if the opportunities that slipped through your fingers were only stepping stones towards something greater? What if the version of yourself that you are shedding is the very shell that has been keeping you from breaking through into your true power? Letting go does not close your story. It allows your story to continue. Every time you release something not meant for you, you create sacred space. And in that space, new beginnings are born. Think of the times when emptiness terrified you, when you thought you would never recover from what left. And yet, in that very emptiness, something new appeared. New people, new opportunities, new strength. The vacancy created by loss is not a curse. It is the cradle where the next blessing rests. And that blessing could never have fit into a life still crowded with what was holding you back. Letting go is not weakness. It is strength. It is choosing to trust that the author of your story knows how to write better chapters than the ones you are trying to rewrite. It is surrendering control, not because you have given up, but because you have chosen to believe that what is greater cannot enter a life that clings to what is lesser. When you let go, you declare that you are ready, that you are willing, that you are open to what is coming. And in that moment of surrender, the door swings wide for what you never imagined could be yours.